you'd only fail when you quit. Truthfully, God shut a lot of doors.
And every time you make a mistake in business, it's expensive. Just sit there and ask them questions.
Going on right now in our lives, we have an SQF like mock audit going on.
Yep.
The guy, listen, you guys know that we run a tight ship here. I don't think I need to tell you that, but he was very impressed with the facility.
Yeah.
And all of our stuff. And he
kind of came at us with like a weird backward compliment, though. I mean, I know you noticed it. He was a little heavy with how bad he thought the place was going to be. Did you notice that when he was telling us yesterday? He was just like, man, I thought this place was just going to be some little, but it's so nice. But I thought it was going to be a little shack, but it really isn't. It's like, thank you.
Why'd you think it was going to be a shack?
Yeah, why did you think it was going to be so, like, I mean, what he was saying was he was saying complimentary things. He was just saying in a kind of a way I thought was funny. So,
yeah.
Anyways.
But he's a really, really nice guy.
Yeah,
and
super cool.
He's helping us out with even stuff that we got hit on our last audit. He thinks that we should be essentially appealing some of those things. So
yeah, like we shouldn't have been hit. Yeah, so he's going to put us through the appeal process and everything. That's cool.
Yeah, so a lot of good things happening on that front.
Well, and so y'all know what that means is, so we're basically involved with an organization that says, hey, our food is good, it's clean, right? It's an independent body. Well, they have an organization that audits for them, and we got an audit score that we passed. But because we're new and because of some record keeping and stuff like that, the frequency that they want to come back is tighter. The guy that we hired to bring in says these little findings weren't findings. We should have completely blown this thing away. We got docked for like non-issues. Now, whatever, without throwing anything out there, this company makes more money every time they come out and see us. So it doesn't take much to conclude that maybe it's just part of a practice, but whatever. That's not for me to decide. What this guy's doing, though, for us is going to help us with if we appeal it and we get it back to where we think we should be, then the frequency that they have to come out is yearly, which is where we need it to be. I mean,
which I also bring it, I don't know really how to say this because it's hard to do it in the moment, but when you own a business, sometimes like sucking it up and paying that little extra money for a auditing service or a third-party service, if you're going to be doing something and you can get someone to audit or do something, yeah, it sucks to pay that money, but sometimes that little bit of money saves you so much more money on the back end. So, for example, this company, if we would have found them before we even got our first SQF audit, I think that we wouldn't have had the issues that we had in our SQF audit. And if we would have, they would have addressed those issues right then, and then this would have been over, and we wouldn't be potentially having the re-audit that we're having right now, which on face, their services were like $5,000 and every audit's like $10,000. So when you look at just saving you having to do a re-audit, that $5,000 investment saves you $10,000 later on. Also, I think there's just a little bit of peace of mind that comes into knowing that like you have someone that's a professional fighting for you in that corner.
Yeah, so that's basically how I look at it. It's like he's almost like our lawyer.
Yeah.
So when they come in, and that's how he looked at it. We walked him through our process. Well, here, you can watch us make cookies, watch everything.
Yeah.
No issues, no glaring anythings. We're talking some of the dings are on like some paperwork related stuff, some like storage of stuff that is nowhere near a food product. We run a super tight ship here. Some of these things you just don't know until they tell you.
Yeah. What was that? Is that JB Weld? That was on top of your toolbox?
Paint. A paint marker.
Oh, yeah. So Adam had like a white paint marker that was just sitting on top of his toolbox in the warehouse.
Way away from food.
And he was like, well, this needs to be just stored. He's like literally open a drawer, put it into the toolbox, and that's it. And we're like, fair, But that's the kind of stuff that, you're talking about on this level, that counts as 1 point off. And when you get enough 1 points off, then you have to do a re-audit. It's not many. It's like 15 points.
Well, yeah, and there are things that are weighted like 5 points that we shouldn't get dinged.
Yeah, so essentially we're dinging something for 5 points that he says shouldn't even been 1 point. It should have just never been on there.
Right. So basically, our previous pesticide provider had bait boxes that were empty, no bait inside them, no nothing, that were moved inside of the warehouse, again, way away from food products or anything because it gets windy as hell. It's hurricane season, so they just got pushed inside and in the corner and not thought about. and we got wrote up as if we had like rat poison, even in the building, which like there are procedures where you might keep that kind of bait elsewhere on the property. But like we have a brand new building, brand new facilities. There's no holes. There's no chew marks. So again, the guy told us he wasn't even going to write it up. And then it shows up on the paperwork. And, you know, it's sort of one of those bada bing, bada boom. 1 point shy of we need to audit you more and charge you more money per year.
Yeah.
And we thought it was bullshit, but like we didn't know how to fight it. We didn't know what we didn't know.
Well, we actually did fight that a little bit. Well, I mean, and we got it.
Yeah.
They actually were going to fail us over this, and we had to fight about that. And then once we fought about that, and you know, then it just became, well, it's still 5 points, and we were like, but why? Because like if I wanted to store, I don't know, an empty container that said cyanide on it in my facility, if there's nothing in it, then there's nothing in it. It doesn't matter, right? But long story short, you know, I don't want to draw that correlation, but if you make money by auditing people, the more you can audit
when
them,
they align,
the
right? When they just align, it's just too hard.
There is a correlation, not that there's causation,
right.
I guess would be,
Yes,
right?
that's correct.
It's correlation, not necessarily causation.
Not necessarily.
But with all that being said, we, you know, are you know, preparing for, you know, the next steps that we have to do with SQF, potentially, you know, just moving a lot of our SQF stuff off site while we, you know, look for a new certification body. Essentially, I don't know how to explain it because I don't know anything in the real world that's like that, where, you know, well, I guess technically it would be like CrossFit, for example. To get a level 1 certification, you got to go pass a class, but you can go take a class from anywhere that the classes are offered.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, it's not quite the same, but it's like some instructors, which there is a standardized test, so that I think that stops it. But like some instructors are better than other instructors. So I don't know.
Maybe like getting your driver's license.
I was going to say driver's ed.
You never know who you're going to get.
Yeah.
And like we got a dude that was literally, we were told, writes like SOPs and stuff for NASA and those types. Like we were told if you're going to launch a spaceship, you want this guy to look at like your SOPs to make sure nothing is out of whack. Anybody could follow him. We're baking cookies. I mean, they are the best cookies in the world, but like it's, we use love.
And again, reiterating, we passed. We
passed, yeah.
We did well considering it was our first ever audit, you know, and the guy was what would you consider a tougher person. But yeah, it's always hard when there's the human element involved, right? Because everyone reacts to situations differently. Someone may see something and be like, I don't feel like that's a big deal. And they don't think it's a big deal. Whereas someone else may say, wow, this is a huge deal. Like, you know, so, but anyways, with that being said, we are, you know, identifying co-packers that can help us just because of the volume increase. The Myers order is officially in the system now.
That's right.
So our first wholesale order is officially.
Yeehaw, baby.
Yeah.
Hold on tight.
Yeah. And I guess when I say first wholesale, there have been wholesale orders, but the first one's in our wholesale bags.
That's right. I know. Yeah. So we've got kind of internal terminology on what we do. We are wholesaling our cookies without getting in the weeds on that. But this is the bags we've shown, the 4-pack in the stores, what we've been working for, even though, see, like, it's kind of weird. All this is just the stuff we got to do day to day. This is what we're working towards, the wholesale bags in the product, in the grocery store, so you guys can check them out at home. Yeah. It's exciting. So it's going to be like, I don't know, double work, but it's going to be so worth it. And it's so exciting because...
And I shared I shared the Dash Mart stuff on our story today.
Cool.
You know, that I picked Atlanta. I was able to do it. Picked Atlanta, and I found the Dash Mart stuff. So that was really cool. Did we talk about
the category? Did we talk about winning an award? Or
I think we mentioned it, but I
think we did something.
Yeah,
we still got to get the full like details on.
It was sales velocity of a product in one day through their stores. So the most of an individual product sold.
And we weren't even pushing anything towards it. So
no, I don't know. We don't even talk about it.
Right.
So people are just organically finding us, I guess.
Sick.
Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. I will say I went to Dash Mart's website and there's products featured on the front page, and I don't know why we weren't featured on the front page. We just have to let them know, like, feature us on the front page.
Probably pay-to-play situation. Oh, well, we can entertain. We can make some cool media.
We may play whenever they want to.
We can feature you on this dope podcast.
Yeah.
Right here.
Come jump on our podcast, and then we'll do it. So the next step for us obviously we have the Myers order. We have some interest in some smaller grocery chains, like
boutique chains, couple of branches,
chains, which I didn't even. I think it's cool. We don't have anything like that, do we?
I think it's so cool. Weirdly enough, when I was a little kid, I wanted to own a grocery store.
Comment down below if you live in an area that has like a boutique grocery chain.
Yeah,
because I'd like to know if you have one down there, like, or where you live. Like, for example, one of them was called Plum Market.
Yeah.
What was the other one? I don't remember what some of them were called.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. You got me on the spot.
I don't know. I
can look them up.
Yeah, I can look at the list.
Yeah, those little kind of niche boutique markets. When I was a little kid, I wanted to own a grocery store. I actually wanted to own and do a bunch of things, which is weird for my life to kind of take this trajectory because I guess a little manifest destiny. But I was a little weird about it, kind of growing up the way I did. I just thought I could own these things and then I would get groceries for free instead of... making plenty of money to buy my own groceries. I thought it was like I will get it for free. I don't know, free's cool.
Yeah, I was looking.
But nothing's really ever free. Somebody's paying for it.
Yeah, I was looking to see if I could find where he sent all the different lists to us, but I don't think I can find it. The Christians list that he had for us. But, oh, maybe I found it. Oh, here they are. Okay. So there are like some grocery chains. For example, let's see, one's called AJ's, Foxtrots, which we've talked about, Dom's Fresh Market, Drager's Gourmet Garage, Lake Acres, Met Market, Mississippi Co-op, Oliver's, Rainbow Blossom, United Market Street. Oh, no, there's a bunch on here. So if you live near any of these, like AJ's is a big one.
Or you got like a cool, like local C-store situation or just something. I mean, you guys are familiar with the brand. If you think there might be some kismet or we might work well with that brand, comment below, give us a shout.
Yeah.
But we're basically looking at doing, you want to throw out the total cookie volume this month?
This month, through our wholesale side of it, we're looking at doing 175,000 cookies.
Yes, sir.
That's not including e-commerce or anything like that. That's just through like wholesale numbers. And then by quarter one, we should be trending, sometime in quarter one, and when we pick up Publix, to be trending towards close to 1 million cookies a month.
Yeah, boy, that's why we're on it so hard with these co-packers and everything else, because, like we talked about, we want to use this facility to kind of continue to push innovation, research, be fun, do the cool things, prove concept, and then once we, show the world how awesome Fat and Weird is, get a co-packer that's used to doing this type of stuff at absolute scale.
And I know this is going to sound maybe silly or weird to some people, but if you're watching this right now in the weeks that it's recorded, so sometime in October or November of 2023, you are firsthand witnessing like the growth of Fat and Weird to this next level. And I don't think that, I don't think I even truly appreciate like how cool that is that, Adam and I in 6 months from now are going to go back and watch these videos and kind of maybe even laugh at some of the struggles that we have. Like, I can't believe you thought that was going to be hard. That was so easy. And I can't believe we didn't think this was going to be hard because it's so much harder.
Yeah.
But, I think people love being a part of this story and journey. So like you are experiencing like as close to firsthand the Fat and Weird's growth.
That's right.
Us talking about this stuff, like you're getting to like hear it and see it before it happens. And it isn't us just like talking out of the side of our mouths. I know you probably met people like that. I know you and I both know a ton of people, and every time you talk to them, there's some grandiose plan that they're going to do. And then when you see them again in a year, there's a reason that they didn't do that grandiose plan, but listen to the new grandiose plan. But we're grinding. Yeah, this is actually occurring.
Every target, we're hitting our targets. We're getting better at setting those targets. We're getting better at setting farther targets. I mean, we're just this thing's turning into a machine, man. And we're going to do 175,000 cookies this month, and e-com, and storefront, and any other opportunity that arises. And that's on the low end. That's not a high-end flex. Orders are in. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to be pegged out doing it. So we just got to make sure we take care of our people, take care of everybody, make sure everybody, feels warm and fuzzy, make sure the machines are taken care of.
Yeah, I had a phone call with Christian. He said low end would be like 150, and that would be like if everything that's like even on the cusp fell through for some reason. But he said high end would be probably somewhere around like 215-ish. Yeah. So, 175 is kind of like our middle
where we're holding
number.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's a really fun thing right now. But I guess something I talked about at lunch today, I don't know if you heard me talk about it. The year leading up to this was a very difficult year. And I know you were here for a majority of that, But I mean,
it was lean, man. We were running lean for a while.
Well, not just that. I mean, in beginning of November, like I was signing documents to sell Fat and Weird at the end of November to another company for all in would have been $10 million once everything was done. And it would leave me a little bit of equity in Fat and Weird, and I would have had a role here and things like that. And then by the end of November, that deal falling through because of capital and things like that, and I had to pivot, and we had October of that year had been the worst month we'd ever had. It was picking back up because, cookie sales and stuff always goes really well at the end of the year and actually into the beginning of the next year. But, things had slowed down, and I was at like a really low point. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I remember venting to you, like, I don't know what to do. I feel so overwhelmed by everything. And you were just like, hey, man, I'm going to come help you.
Let's fucking go, boy.
You're like, I'll figure out what it's going to look like. But you have something too good there to just like
tell you,
let it dwindle down.
Nope.
So I don't know if I ever told you. And so now live on the podcast, I appreciate you like just like believing in me when I like doubted myself a little bit. And sometimes it's like when you're crawling in the mud, you don't, realize what you have going for you. And I think from an outside perspective, you're like, I see that you're in the shit right now and you're deep in it, but take this rope.
Yep.
Because when we pull you out, there's plenty on the other side.
That's
right.
That's right.
And so I think a lot of people, when it gets hard, they give up.
Yep.
And I mean, I'll admit
you
it.
get deflated.
I was trying. Yeah.
You feel like you're running in that hamster wheel, and at some point, you're just like, I'm not getting any.
Yeah, I was trying to give up without actually giving up because I wasn't going to give up in the sense of like I was trying to figure out how do I let Fat and Weird go but pivot my facility into something new that'll make me money. But deep down, I was trying to give up on it because it just felt like there was just I didn't know what to do. Yep. And truthfully, when people talk about being overwhelmed, I was overwhelmed because there were so many options and it was hard to decide on the right path forward.
That's right.
But I think, truthfully, God shut a lot of doors and like pretty much made it where there was only one path forward, and that's the path we're on now. And that's why I feel so comfortable moving in the direction I'm moving in. So I really feel God's hand
100%
involved
man.
in
Well,
everything.
To talk about that, man, I get it too, and it's almost like a depression, but like that video you sent me, I like his words, but you and I've kind of got similar brains. Whatever, I'm going to say it. I'm a smart dude, so I don't have a problem saying, but this guy said, ADHD or similar type things, you've got a Ferrari for a brain, but you got bicycle brakes. And I get locked up because if I make the wrong decision, I am going to work harder, faster, longer hours than anybody else on that decision. I'm going to have put in so much effing work into it. Now, granted, it's not going to take me that long because I am going to hyperfixate on it, but then I'm going to go, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And then it's a kick in the balls because you I made the wrong decision. And even though that shouldn't matter as much, it does.
Well, it's kind of like the way I like to think about it is if like, say you are a fast runner. I'm talking like you're running at 25 miles an hour, and you head out the door and you are sprinting the wrong direction.
Yeah.
After 30 minutes, you've headed a long ways in the wrong direction. Whereas someone that moves at 10 miles an hour, nothing wrong with it.
With a map.
If they are heading in the wrong direction, after 30 minutes, they haven't gone as far, and it's easy for them to turn around and maybe kick it into gear and like get back to the resting point. But because we're used to moving like 1,000,000 miles an hour, that when we move 1,000,000 miles an hour the wrong way, it's
and
like
bumpers get so crucial though, because you can quickly go like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm off the rails. What happened? But like, yeah, using your runner analogy, you can be as fast as you want to. You ain't going to beat me if I got a map. So like you don't know where we're going.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
So like, I like that from a planning kind of standpoint on analogy stuff. But
well, even so at dive school, one of the fastest swimmers had a hard time passing the bay swim because if you don't go straight and you're zigging and zagging, you're covering way more distance than the guy that's just going straight the whole way. Right. And this guy was a really fast swimmer, but he always would have to look back and he would just be zigging and zagging the whole time. And it wasn't until literally a dive instructor got on a canoe beside him and was like,
swim in a straight line.
No, swim with me. And he swam, and he literally set a record for the fastest time. But he was failing on time because he couldn't stay straight.
I got you.
So, it's like, it's a wild, when you take that analogy, you can move very quickly, but if you move quickly, zigzagging or not in the right direction, you don't get to your destination,
You get off topic because I kind of forgot what we were initially talking about. Do you remember?
Yeah, we were initially just talking about the speed of movement into different things. But
so getting kind of locked up and like feeling like depressed and not knowing which way to pivot. I had that way too. When I exited, I knew it was the right time. I knew I'd made the right decision to kind of exit my former stuff. Also, the reason why I got into franchises because they're like, here's the coloring book, color as fast as you want to.
Right.
So again, kind of having that map. But after I made that exit, I did some consulting stuff and like I kind of liked it, but I kind of didn't because some things were like glaringly obvious and you're like, you need to do this and then they don't. And then it was kind of like being a personal trainer again.
Yeah.
Of like, do this and it'll help you. And they're like, I don't want to. So then,
what else can I do besides this?
And then, so, this coming aboard and this opportunity and kind of like, again, you say like, I was, watching and hanging out and obviously we were talking about it and I didn't really think about it for myself, but after kind of the series of, hires and changeover that has happened over here, I just was like, man, it's kind of a raw deal. And then when finally the last guy that was going to stay here like flaked, I was like, this is stupid. This is great. This is a great product. We got a hell of a business plan, hell of an opportunity. And we are fucking killing it. We are doing exactly what we said we're going to do. Yeah. It's lean times, man. It's whatever. Winter was here and now, whatever. Summer's coming. So
yeah, I just know that's why I actually was having a conversation with someone today at the gym when I was leaving. She's a photographer and she was just talking about how, being a business owner, sometimes you like see a bad month or you have a bad day and you like can get really wrapped into this rabbit hole. And I told her, imagine having a business the size of ours, like a bad month, like you can lose $50, $60, $70, $80,000 in a month. So like a bad month, instead of profiting money, I spent, the truth is, Fat and Weird, I've spent over $250,000, way more actually, to just keep Fat and Weird running this year. Yeah. But that's because I knew where we were trying to go. That's right. And you have to be willing to invest back, take those L's, use the money that the company has made previously to float it during those times that it's not doing as well so that you can pivot and move into other things. So.
It's how long can you put off, how long can you delay gratification?
Right.
Is typically a metric of successful people, unless you kind of have a weird jump off point, have access to money, come from money, something like that maybe. But yeah, every business I've been involved with, every dime has gone back into it that I didn't need to live. Now, when I got kids and stuff, like, of course, I start, buying more things. And then, of course, I started getting into more businesses. So I had access. I didn't have to do that.
Yeah, you have access to more money. And
stuff. Yeah, I didn't have to do that at some point. But yeah, now, jumping back over here, hard pivot, all the cash combined we both got, it's getting allocated to something to blow this mother up. And it's going to happen, man. And so, like,
it's a waiting game now. So
scary, like, whatever, I've jumped out of a bunch of planes. It's scary like jumping out of a plane. It's like, like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's just the nerves of like waiting, like I feel like, if any of you guys have sky dove from the sky, that feeling of like, once you're up and you're sitting there and, once they pop those doors and you're like, okay, you can feel it. It's just, you're sitting there ready. anyways, it's like that. That's kind of the feeling day to day.
Yeah, more relevant to people probably is like when you're at the top of the peak on that roller coaster and you know it's about to go down, you know? It's like,
And that's what it's going to feel like because it's going to be so fast. You know, I do well in those environments. I know you do.
Well, I don't know if you know, you didn't hear this. Our SQF auditor, the pre-auditor down there, you know, he said, we were in the packing room and he goes, hey, this company, he's like, in the next like 4 years is going to be worth more than $100 million. He's like, I can tell you right now, you have $100 million company in the next 4 years. And I said, I'm actually hoping to get there in about a year and a half. But he laughed.
Like
and
he goes, go fast, Daddy.
Well, he laughed and he goes, I mean, you really are right there. And he said that it's really amazing what we have and what we built. So I think it's always, I don't need the external validation from people, but it does feel good to get it. You know, I mean, I don't think that
Well, you got just so many people, just all the time,
willing
just
to
like
shit on you.
Yeah, or chuckle under their breath, or something. You know, like whatever. We're in Panama City. The amount of people that, and it doesn't matter, but the amount of people, like, if you are like, oh, good for you, you have a storefront. Great, thank you, love you. I don't care. I'm not trying to flex on anybody.
Yeah.
But when people like mutter under their breath, like we're not over here working our tails off to grow something that is actually going to help put Panama City on the map, more on the map than their little insurance or car sale business or whatever the hell they're doing. No, I don't have any money to go hang out with you because I'm putting it all into a company that I believe in.
Yeah.
And I don't even like you. So there you go. Generic, most people that I interact with. But.
No, but I think that, you know, what I really wanted to cover since we were doing a shorter podcast today is that, you know, I think you've heard it before. I've heard it before. It's like you only fail when you quit.
Yep.
And so I think that sometimes when you're really, really going through it, you know, maybe get an outside perspective on your things. Be willing to pay for an outside perspective on things sometimes, because I think that sometimes that will help you get further. So those are two little tidbits to take away is that, you know, keep going even when it's hard. If you truly believe in what you've got, sometimes you can't control the down, but you can, you know, come out the other side better.
And you'll see what you're made of. And you're made of tougher stuff than, you're just made of tougher stuff than you'll know until you try.
Yeah. For sure. And then, you know, also, like I said, if you're ever going through a situation where, you know, you can use a consulting company, especially if, you know, it's a reputable place and, you know, it will pay for itself.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, mentors, we talked about that before, man. But, like, the price experts are willing to trade their lifetime of wisdom. So you got to be careful. You're not looking for slick. You're not looking for loopholes. You're not looking for whatever. But if you can buy time from somebody who's done what you're doing for like the past 20 or 30 years, especially if they've done a good job at it, and you can just sit there and ask them questions, and it's probably invaluable. But if they'll look at your operation and go, I'd do something like that or something like that.
Because you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes someone will tell you something that you had no clue about that will literally change everything for you. So.
And every time you make a mistake in business, it's expensive. It's not just a kick in the balls. It's a kick in the bank account.
Yeah.
And if somebody else has had a kick in their bank account and can go like, whoop, be careful of that, or try it like this, you go, thank you.
Yeah.
That was worth whatever per hour you've charged me, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so, hell yeah.
But that's it. We got to do a quick one today because we're going to go hang out with the guy that's doing the mock-up before he leaves in about 10 minutes. He's going to try some of the little weirdo flavors.
Yep.
So we're going to do a little cookie taste testing. So thank you guys for joining us on a quick one. We may record a second one this week. You never know. Sometimes you get a bonus podcast. Maybe not. Who knows?
Never know.
But you're worth it. Do hard shit.
See y'all.